Good morning. So this morning I'm going to be talking to you guys about the bomb threats that have been placed across Canada, specifically the ones that happened on September 21st. So on September 21st at 7:50 a.m., Marconi College was evacuated. 10 minutes later at 8 a.m., Nova Scotia College was evacuated. An hour later at 9 a.m., 19,000 students were evacuated from all the schools in PEI. A couple hours later in Winnipeg, they were watching the updates from all of the other schools when they received a fax threatening a bomb, and all of the schools in Winnipeg were evacuated. And the next day, 3 parts of Nunavut, all of their school districts were evacuated, all for the opposing of bomb threats that resulted in absolutely nothing. All the threats were either received by telephone or by fax. And when the evacuation procedures underwent, SWAT teams, K-9 units, tactical teams, traffic and patrol officers were deployed to help remove and keep the public safe from any threat that was posed to them. In 2015, there was only 12 bomb threats made. In 2016, so far, there's been 17. That's 5 more than last year, and there's still 3 more months left of this year to go. So there's a bigger increase of bomb threats coming on Canada. But it's not as bad as the U.S. The U.S. has bomb threats, terrorist attacks every single day. There's actually a news live feed that you can find online for all of the news sources showing all of the threats consistently throughout the day. Actually, the day I was researching this, the U.S. had more threats that day than Canada has had this year. Since the bomb threats were coming up late, the police have not been able to track where the phone calls came from or where the faxes came from, so nobody's been held accountable so far. But there is still a continuous investigation on the subject, and they want to find somebody to hold accountable. The police are also getting frustrated with having to deal with situations that are essentially prank calls. They're false alarms. There was a police service spokesperson out of Winnipeg, Constable Rob Carter. He said, "We don't want to be reacting to one of these a week where we're emptying out schools and somebody thinks this is a joke. But our officers assume we're making life and death decisions. We don't take this lightly, but we also don't take lightly putting the city in panic." And that brings up a good point. If somebody's constantly crying wolf, why is this a threat? If this is going to continue to happen, police are going to stop responding. They're not going to see it as a real threat, and something serious is going to happen and nobody's going to be there. Some things that these threats kind of caused on the community was they sent everybody into a panic. People were scared to return back to their schools and to their works because they weren't sure if something else is going to happen. You know, causes anxiety for people to go back. It takes police away from actual crime that's happening on the streets. It's time lost for schools, and it honestly concerns the safety of all Canadians. We're not a country that gets threatened a lot. We haven't had a 9/11 attack. We haven't had a big Boston bombing in like a long time. So, or it's a rare occasion. So having over 5 threats in less than 24 hours kind of puts people on edge. In my research of this topic, I found some interesting theories from people. So one of the theories was that it was a pre-warning for future bombing to take place, that these were places that a bigger event could happen, which is interesting and a fair point in my opinion. Another one was used as a distraction to move other crime along, which is honestly kind of brilliant. Take all the police force and put them in a remote area while you can move drugs, weapons, people across without being caught. Interesting, it's possible, probably not. Another one was just to see how people would react, how the police force, how citizens, how everybody would react to a situation so that they could plan other things. Now these are all just theories, they're not proven, nothing really is yet in this situation, but it is something to kind of keep in mind, that these are just threats, nothing's coming out of them, so what's happening behind the scenes of all of it? What could possibly happen? The police haven't released any other statements regarding the situation. The only thing that they've released is some things that you can do in a situation like this. So reporting all crime that you see or any suspicious activity, it's better for them to be informed than ignored on the situation. be aware of your surroundings at all times, and if you are in a situation of a bomb threat, just to cooperate with any enforcement officers and anybody in the team, because it doesn't make it any easier